What is going on, everybody? This is Jackson from JD Sports Zone, and today, very special episode NFL playoff predictions with the Playoff Push podcast. My guy, Jack Dobbins. Jack, thank you so much for joining. Super excited to have you back on, and we have to do that Georgia athlete draft because I need to get my get back for everybody having the playoff push bias in the Volpos. But how's your
Yeah,
how's
yeah,
your
yeah, yeah, yeah.
how's your day going, man?
It's good, brother. Really good. Got a good lift in. Got some good food. Just recorded one of the shows for mine. Got two more after this, but it's nice to be back with you, man. It's great talking ball.
Yeah, I'm super excited to have you on. Now, obviously, we have playoff pushes coming in on the 9th and the 10th. But before we get into the NFL playoff, bracket and everything, I want to talk about some head coach firings. And I want to talk about the most notable one that happened a day or two ago with the Baltimore Ravens firing longtime head coach John Harbaugh. John Harbaugh became the head coach back in 2007, which I'm pretty sure that's the same year you were born. Is that correct?
Six. Oh, six.
Six? I was close. I was close. But dude, I want to ask you your opinion on the John Harbaugh firing. What's your opinion?
I think it was inevitable. I mean, when you have an MVP caliber quarterback in Lamar Jackson, even though he did take a little step back this year, but wasting those years of Lamar and not really making that deep playoff run that you'd expect, whether it be the drop from Mark Andrews to lose to Buffalo or any of the other situations, you're playing with one of the most talented quarterbacks of the 21st century. So not even getting to a Super Bowl was going to knock him down a peg. And I really think that that final field goal in Steelers Ravens decided who got fired. If it went in, Tomlin was gone. If it missed, Harbaugh was gone. And guess what? It was right. Harbaugh now moving on, and I know exactly where he's going. Look at that flag right there in the back.
He's
That's
not
where
going to the
he's heading.
Giants.
He's heading to the Giants, baby. Let's go.
I don't think he's heading to the Giants. Honestly, I think Harbaugh heads to Vegas. Because I want to see a Jim Harbaugh and John Harbaugh rivalry in that AFC West. When you still have Andy Reid, you still have Sean Payton in the AFC West. But I honestly think, the Baltimore Ravens, they want to make a deep playoff push. I want to say it's related almost like a James Franklin type firing. I really
Ooh.
wish. I really wish it was a smooth transitional thing, kind of like what the Atlanta Braves did with Brian Snitker. Because he's been a pivotal piece of that Ravens organization for 18 years. And, firing him, I understand you had two losing seasons in the past 5 years. That's something that, you really can't hold a candle to. But honestly, Mike Tomlin should have been gone years ago. Years ago. But I think he's gone within the next year if Steelers have a losing record, which they haven't. They haven't since his towards the beginning of his tenure. So honestly, I want to see Harbaugh in Vegas, but I want to talk about this one. Honestly, let's move over to the New York Giants. Obviously, Brian Dable, was fired earlier this season. I want to ask you, outside of John Harbaugh, who do you want in
Oh
that
man.
position?
Outside of Harbaugh, my dad's answer would be Stefanski.
Hmm.
Now, I do not know how I feel about Stefanski. I couldn't tell you. Um, a name that I heard a while ago that has started to go down that I still want to keep an eye on is Chris Shula, the defensive coordinator from the Rams. I heard a lot about him around week 14, week 15, and then obviously with the Rams coming down the playoff stretch, it started to die down a little bit. But I really like the matchup. I think he would do incredible as a head coach. Obviously, a defensive mastermind. These guys on the Rams defense were unknowns mostly coming out of college. Whoever heard of Quentin Lake in college and then getting to the league and keeping it as a top five defense, even through injuries? That's who I would want. Do I think he's going to be a head coach? I don't know. Who knows? My dad was his Stefanski. I think there's a lot of good candidates. Just please do not hire Antonio Pierce. I beg of you. You can put him as DC. Just do not put him at head coach.
I mean, honestly, I would love Chris Shula for the New York Giants. A defensive mastermind. I feel like New York Giants fans are tired of seeing the offensive mindset from things when it comes to I guess hirings there. I mean, you had Joe Judge, you had Brian Dable, didn't really work out. Honestly, I would love to see what's his name from he's the OC for Joe Brady. Joe Brady,
Ooh.
Bills OC. Honestly, I think he has been a really pivotal piece of, Josh Allen's success. He had some success out in Carolina. Honestly, I would love to see Joe Brady for the New York Giants. I don't think he's going to lead the Buffalo Bills, but maybe a guy like him or another defensive coordinator who's been really a star-studded piece for that Chargers defense, Jesse Minter. Jesse Minter as well. I love him too for the New York Giants. But I want to transition down to the NFC South. The Atlanta Falcons fired Raheem Morris. They got rid of Terry Fontenot. And I live in the Atlanta area. A lot of people were super excited saying Raheem Morris is going to be the savior of the team. No, honestly, he was given too many passes, and they haven't found success since, Dan Quinn's Super Bowl season. So I want to ask you, who do you think the Atlanta Falcons hire?
I have no idea. I couldn't tell you who's on their radar. I couldn't tell you who they've interviewed, who they're going to interview. So I'm in a very mixed bag. I don't pay attention to the NFC South much. I don't have much of a reason to. Giants, we're in the East. So I really couldn't tell you just because I don't know what their scheme is like outside of that Morris system because I believe it's only been him since Bijan was drafted. So the question is, what can he do in another system? We haven't seen it.
I mean, when I talk to Falcons fans around me, it's a very similar situation like the Giants. They're tired of seeing defensive-minded guys coming in for the Falcons coaching positions. Raheem Morris was a defensive guy, did not succeed. Even with the Arthur Smith being a Titans OC, he was not a good head coaching fit. A lot of guys want to see John Harbaugh in Atlanta. I don't think that's going to happen. Honestly, I would love to see Brian Flores. He's a former head coach for the Miami Dolphins, and he's been really successful out in Minnesota, and I think he'd be a perfect fit. I think he was thrown. There's a lot of I guess allegations against him when it comes to the head coaching situation there, but I think he'd be a great fit in Atlanta. I
The thing
love that.
is, he's still a defensive guy. So if they're trying to
Mhm.
get out of that mindset, he's not the guy you're going to go to. Is a defensive coordinator in Minnesota. He's always been a guy who prides himself on having, a dominant defensive back system with Xavier Howard back in Miami when
Mhm.
he was, a good corner. And he's out of the league, I'm pretty sure. But again, if you want to get rid of the defensive thing, I don't think that he's the way to go. But I think he's a great coach.
I mean, honestly, I think he's a great coach, and you see these guys. Some people are better fit as coordinators, and some people are meant to be a head coach. Like Brian, he's a great offensive coordinator. I don't think he was meant to be a head coach. Josh McDaniels, phenomenal offensive coordinator, was
Not
not
head
meant to be a
coach.
head coach. And honestly, first, like Josh McDaniels' first year in the OC position back in New England after his short tenure in with the Raiders and then getting fired over there, bringing Drake May back to the level that we all knew he could be. Honestly, I love Josh McDaniels out there, but I think they need an offensive mind for the Falcons, but I wouldn't mind Brian Flores either. But I want to ask you this. And no head coach has really succeeded. We saw glimpses of Kevin Stefanski in Cleveland, and then he was recently fired. Who do you think the Browns hire?
Call me crazy. I think Mike McDaniel makes so much sense in this Browns team. Just the way it's structured, just the way the players are. I feel like he would be able to slot in there because I feel like he's a guy. Cleveland is a team that wants to be taken seriously, but cannot be taken seriously. I think Mike McDaniel's the same way. And I feel like if he plots it right, he could use that to his advantage and really build the team around that locker room culture and really push it. Right now, that's where I'm leaning, especially with him getting fired literally, what, 4 hours ago? But I feel like he's a good guy.
I mean, I would love to see Mike McDaniel in Cleveland Browns. They haven't had a breath of fresh air since the early Kevin Stefanski days, and then ever since maybe like the '90s or the '80s or '70s or whenever they were successful. I know it was not the 2000s, but honestly, I would love to see like a younger guy like Mike McDaniel who's great in the locker room, is a personable player. coach guy out there. But honestly, I would love to see that. Now I want to ask this. Let's go over to the Arizona Cardinals. They recently fired Jonathan
Mm.
Gannon, and the Cardinals have had a lot of issues. I wouldn't say injuries, but Kyler Murray, I think he's done in Arizona. I think he's out of there. I think he's gone. I would love to see him maybe in Atlanta or the Jets if that were to be a situation because I think they're moving on from Fields. But I think or they draft Dante Moore or Fernando Mendoza, one of the two. But I want to ask you about the Arizona Cardinals. Who do you think they hire?
I feel like they're going to dip into the college pot. I feel like a college head coach is going to come up for the Cardinals. They're in such a weird spot where they have the best tight end in the league. They have a very solid running back core. They have Michael Wilson, who's proven himself to be a very good receiver so far. Um, Defense, I don't even know what's going on there. But I don't know if any of the current head coaches stick out to me as to who's going to move over to be the next guy in Arizona. I think they might just try to look for a college head coach that maybe has some NFL experience before and then went back down. I don't know. I guess we'll see. A lot of these teams I just don't follow enough to give you a confident answer with them.
I want to say I think they need an offensive-minded guy, the Jonathan Gannon situation. I don't think he was ever really made to be a head coach, and I hate to say that because he was part of the Eagles organization a couple years ago when we first lost to the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. And then I saw his speech, his motivational speech has been floating around Instagram a lot. He's like, "Do you have fire in your gut? Who took a bus here?"
I
I'm like,
saw that. I was like,
dude, what are you
what?
saying? What are you saying? But honestly, I want to see Clint Kubiak land somewhere. The Seahawks offensive coordinator would actually be a great fit for Atlanta, would be a great fit for Arizona. I think they need to move to an offensive mind. I mean, Clint Kubiak has built that Seahawks offense from not making the playoffs last year to making the number one seed with Sam Darnold, who everybody called a game manager. He's not a game manager. I think he's an elite quarterback. I think he's a top 10 quarterback. And honestly, I love the offensive scheme that they built in Seattle. And I think Clint Kubiak can take his offensive mind in division. And let's say the Arizona Cardinals. I would love to see Clint
That's the
Kubiak.
question. I'm like, how does it go in division? How do the Seahawks react to that? I don't know what Clint's contract situation is, but I believe if he's still under contract, he would need to request the Cardinals would need to request to the Seahawks to talk with him, I believe. Um, and I don't know if the Seahawks would be too quick to let them do that if his contract isn't up.
Hmm. It says no, his contract is up. I'm
Oh,
on
it's up. Okay, then
ATP
yeah,
Quad
then he's
Sports
free.
.com. Then yeah,
If
he's
it's up,
free.
then it's
He's free.
free.
Hey, he can go to Arizona out there, and honestly, I would love to see it. Now, I want to ask you about the situation in Miami. Obviously, they fired Mike McDaniel. Tua was put in the QB3 spot. I think they're done with Tua. Tua's gone. I'm very interested to see who's the QB in 2026 for the Miami Dolphins. But I want to ask about the coaching position. Who replaces Mike McDaniel, or who do you
I
think needs to go there?
I hate this spot the Dolphins are in. I think they are absolutely screwed. You have Achan, you have Waddle. I don't know what's going on with Tyreek, where he's at, but this team is such an old team. And when you lose your quarterback in a spot like that, when it's so rough and the cap situation is so messed up, and you have Darren Waller employed in your franchise, I really don't know if there's many ways to go. I think they need to go into a full rebuild. I don't think it matters who they hire because they're going to be fired after two consecutive 3-win seasons. This team needs to rebuild badly.
I mean, honestly, I completely agree when it comes to the Miami Dolphins. I mean, they haven't had success. Well, I mean, they had success in Mike McDaniel's first year or two when they made the playoffs, and then just everything downhill from that. I mean, injuries to Tyreek, injuries to Tua, some injuries to Waddle. And honestly, they need to build up from the ground up. And honestly, I wouldn't mind seeing Stefanski move over from Cleveland to Miami. I think again he's a great locker room guy. He's a great defensive mind, and I think Miami needs to also focus on the defensive side of the ball, ranking 27th in oppositional yards this year. It's just not. It's not good for the Miami Dolphins out there. Now, final one that is open. I believe this is. it for opening head coaching spots. The Las Vegas Raiders. Now, obviously, they departed from Pete Carroll, and everybody thought that, oh, Pete Carroll reconnecting with Geno Smith is going to be great. Pete Carroll connecting with Ashton Genty, who is a little brother to Marshawn Lynch. Like, he's the next Marshawn Lynch. Thought it was going to be great, but no, it is not. Geno Smith was terrible. Who do you think needs to be placed there?
I think it's just as bad of a situation as Miami. The thing is, they're younger, they have a better pick. So I think the Raiders are still a slightly more attractive spot. And with Genty, if you build an offensive line around him, I think he can obviously, he's one of the most freakishly athletically talented running backs in the league. He can run through a brick wall if you give him 2 seconds to prep. But the defense is a bit rough. There's a lot to be desired with the linebacker core and the secondary. Obviously, I don't know what's going on with Crosby, whether he wants to leave or whether he wants to stay, whatever's going on with him. There's a few pieces you need to put together. And I mean, I think they just try to figure out what to do with the franchise if they want to focus offense, if they want to focus defense. They just need to find someone who can be fine with a slow start just to get the team's core built and then go from there until you're ready to succeed in about 3 years.
Honestly, they need an offensive mind, and as you said, they have young guys like Genty out there. I mean, Raiders still have a younger wide receiver core. Don't really have, I would say, a star-studded wide receiver on that offense. And I need obviously Geno Smith. He's out of there. He's gone. Honestly, I really wanted to see the progression of Aiden O'Connell, and unfortunately, we didn't really get to see that. But honestly, he needs to go. He's done. But I need to see an offensive mind there. One of the offensive coordinators. I mean, I don't care who it is. Somebody needs to be placed there that's not Pete Carroll, who's 70 something years old. And they need a younger guy. I think that's what the whole NFL thing is about, younger guy. But ooh, the Giants are interviewing Mike McCarthy. So
Please no.
I'm very, very
What?
interested to see. According to the score
Absolutely
.com, they're
not.
interviewing
Absolutely
Mike
not.
McCarthy.
Throw
So
him out of the building. Throw him through the window.
I
Out of
would
the
love to
building.
see Mike McCarthy go to the New York
No,
Giants and
you would
the
not.
New York Giants. I need to see them tank the New York Giants. I hate the New York Giants.
No,
Bring in
you would
Mike
not.
McCarthy. Bring in
No,
Josh McDaniels.
do not
Bring,
bring in any of those people.
bring back Joe Judge. I love
No, no,
Joe.
no.
Honestly, Mike McCarthy wasn't terrible, but I don't think he should be back in the NFL. He wasn't the worst thing we've seen in Dallas. I think and the Tennessee Titans are interviewing Jason Garrett. So, ooh, that's not. It's
That's
not.
something. After his
It's
like 5 year TV hiatus.
yeah. I mean, something they're trying to go the Jeff Saturday route and just pull somebody off the panel. But honestly, I'm excited to see what happens in the playoffs. But starting with this playoff bracket, I'm gonna hit share onto. Oh, let's
Okay.
see if I can pull up share. There we go. All right, can you see that?
No.
Hold on. Okay, share. I didn't even hit the
There we
share button.
go.
There we go. All right, now we're going to do some playoff predictions and playoff brackets. We're gonna start off with. Hold on. All right, Chargers, Patriots. Who wins?
So the Patriots obviously a super easy schedule this year. A lot of people are critiquing Drake May, saying, "Hey, he shouldn't win MVP. It's an easy schedule." He played one hell of a season. The Chargers, I think, are a very weird team. Sometimes they're on, sometimes they lose to New York Giants, and that's just how it goes. I do, however, think the Patriots win this by a chunk. I think they're going to win it by like 10.
I completely agree with that. The Chargers have really never been successful in the playoffs. I mean, we saw them blow a monstrous lead to uh what's it called? That was back when Brandon Staley was head coach. Blew a monstrous lead to the Jacksonville Jaguars. They didn't succeed against the Texans, I believe, last year. So let's go with New England. All right, Bills in Jacksonville.
Now, this is a game where I was debating a few things. Obviously, no Mahomes in this postseason. He's been
Hmm.
Josh Allen's kryptonite for the longest time. Do I believe in this Jacksonville team, even with Brian Thomas playing horrific and then them somehow getting the 3 seed? I don't know. But what I do know is Josh Allen is hungry. He is ready to bite Trevor Lawrence's head off. I am taking the Bills in this game.
Honestly, I was really thrown between this because honestly, the Jacksonville Jaguars, this is a much more complete team than the last time they were in the playoffs. And Liam Cohen has done an amazing job ever since the Duval thing. Everybody thought they were going 2-15 or 3-14, but that wasn't the case. And Tampa Bay Buccaneers offensive coordinators have succeeded in the playoffs and in their new head coaching ventures. Like Dave Canales is brought the Panthers to a playoff berth. Liam Cohen brought the Jaguars to a playoff berth. But I mean, you have the Buffalo Bills on the other side. Josh Allen, as you said, he's hungry. He's lost to Mahomes multiple times in the playoffs within the past, what, 5 to 10 years, and no
Yeah,
Mahomes in the playoffs. Give me Buffalo. Now,
there we go.
this one's really trippy because honestly, Steelers skated by the skin of their teeth with a missed field goal by Tyler Loop to make the playoffs. And then you have the Houston Texans who started 0-3, and this is the first time in 20 years that an 0-3 team has made the playoffs. So, Texans or Steelers, Jack?
This is not tricky to me in the absolute slightest. My friends are the biggest Steelers fans, you know. Shout out John and Tommy, huge Pittsburgh fans. I do not care. Houston is winning this by 17. And
Mhm.
this is going to be a ridiculous game. People underrate just how good this Houston defense is. I say it's the best defense in the entire league outside of maybe last year's Eagles since Saxonville. This defense is absolutely ridiculous. The best secondary in the league with Stingley and Kamari. You got Will Anderson off the edge. This defense is terrifying. If the offense can get going, we all know what Nico Collins is capable of. We all know what CJ Stroud can do when he actually knows how to play football, along with a very solid offensive line. Give me Houston.
Honestly, I love the pick. The only reason is I understand Aaron Rodgers isn't in his prime anymore. He's not with Green Bay. He doesn't have the offensive mind of, Matt LaFleur or early Mike McCarthy. You have a guy like Arthur Smith at the OC position. But I'm looking at this and we're taking experience. We've seen CJ Stroud struggle in the playoffs before. Do I think that's going to happen? I think it's going to be a much closer matchup than you think. I think it's going to be by a touchdown, but I
I
am
just like
going to stick.
exaggerating things. I'm a
Yeah,
big exaggerating fan.
but I am going to stick with Houston. It's going to be very close. So give me Houston. Now we have that. Let's move over to the NFC side. I want to start with this NFC North matchup, the Packers or the Bears.
Again, my group chat is a me being a Giants fan, a ton of Birds fans, 2 Pittsburgh fans, and a Green Bay Packer fan. I'm sorry, Mike. Y'all are getting smoked out. Chicago is going to win this by a really, really decent chunk. This team is menacing.
Ben Johnson has changed the culture from the Bears. You know what's crazy? The number one seeds from last year in the AFC and NFC are not in the playoffs this year. Lions out, Chiefs out. Ben Johnson has proven why he deserved that head coaching spot in Chicago, utilizing the two tight end set and really elevating Caleb Williams' game with such an incredible offensive mind. We've seen him battle it out with the Packers. The Packers are a little injury ridden. And it's always in a 1A, 1B when it comes to regular season matchups for the Bears and the Packers. But I love this matchup for the playoffs. Packers or Bears. I'm on the fence of this one. I am on the fence of this one,
Are we really
but
thinking about this?
I'm thinking about this
The
just
Bears,
because
the Bears
because of
three
the his
receiver core against the Packers secondary where they had to get someone who was cut
I don't know because it's always a mismatch when it comes to the Bears and Packers, and it's always really close
and
games.
losing Micah.
I'm going to go the Bears. I'm going to push the Bears there. Now, the 49ers and the Eagles, Jack.
I will say this game, I think, is going to be very close. I think that the 49ers, despite being very hurt, have been able to fight astronomically well this year. Um, Earlier in the year, I wasn't so content with them being a playoff team. I was like, oh, losing Warner, losing Bosa, this offense not really having a designated wide receiver one with Brandon Ayuk deciding to be a crybaby on the sideline. I really don't know where this team is going to go. They've put together a great year. But I will say one of the most underrated players in football right now is playoff Jalen Hurts. Only him in the playoffs. I think the Eagles win it by a score.
Honestly, Eagles have been really inconsistent when it comes to offensive tendencies. And Jalen Hurts can either throw for 200 plus yards and really lose a game. Saquon Barkley's not the same Saquon we saw last year. Kevin Patullo scares me at the offensive coordinator position. The Niners have put up a really strong season, even with the injuries of Ayuk and George Kittle earlier in the season, and Ricky Pearsall as well. But I want to go the Philadelphia Eagles. That defense is way too strong, and Brock Purdy, is a little inconsistent on the offense side as well. But Jalen Hurts, I love him. I'm gonna go the Eagles. Rams, Panthers.
I love the story of Bryce Young, making it to the playoffs. I want to be happy for him so bad.
So
The Rams are gonna murder them. It's even though the Panthers, I actually think won the regular season matchup. I don't think it happens twice.
I already clicked the Rams. I don't really need to explain it. Great story for the Panthers. Glad they're back in the playoffs since what 2015, 2016 when it was the
Yeah,
Super Bowl
but
run. But
not gonna be
they're
good to me.
there's Cinderella story ends here. Now I want to go. Let's stick with the NFC side. Rams Seahawks.
I mean, we just saw this matchup a few weeks ago, and it was probably game of the year. I think it was 38-37 Seahawks in the final score. But I will say, I'm going to go the Rams. I think getting Devontae Adams back is huge. I think the defense is slowly starting to get better. They activated Lake back from IR. I think they're slowly starting to rebuild the team that was so dominant early on in the year. Give me the Rams by less than a field goal.
This is probably one of the closest matchups that we're gonna predict
I
today.
think it's the closest matchup in
It's
the entire playoffs.
Yeah, if it and this is if it happens. Rams, which it's going to happen. Nobody's gonna beat uh the Panthers. The Panthers aren't going to beat the Rams, but Rams versus Seahawks. I think it's Rams offense versus Seahawks defense. I mean, the Seahawks defense, that secondary is absolutely insane with
It's
Tariq
very
Woolen
good.
and Nick Manwari, and then you have the offensive side. I mean, JSN has been probably the top receiver in the NFL this entire season, and even with Sam Darnold, everybody saying he was a game manager. I don't think that that's really the case. I mean, didn't yeah, the Seahawks, well, he was part of the Vikings. It was Vikings and Rams last year, right? In the playoffs.
I don't remember. I don't have the memory like that.
I think it might have been Vikings versus Rams, and I know Sam Darnold wants his get back, but Stafford and his guys have put up a phenomenal year. Stafford's going to be NFL MVP, and I think it's going to be the Rams. It's going to
Okay.
be close. All right, Eagles Bears.
Man, this is going to be another really good game to me. Now, here's the thing. The Bears run a really good three receiver set. The thing is, does Q and DeJean lock them up? And
Mhm.
to me, I think the answer is yes. I think playoff Jalen Hurts is good enough to beat up on that Bears defense. A little inconsistent this year. And even though the Eagles offense has been inconsistent, I'd rather bank on the Eagles offense beating the Bears defense than the Bears offense beating the Eagles defense. Give me the Birds in a close one.
This is also a very, very close one. The first time around, the Eagles lost to the Bears around, I think it was the week before Thanksgiving, and we just completely crumbled. And it's been too many inconsistencies from the offensive side. Jalen Hurts is a guy that goes 14 for 28 with a touchdown and an interception versus really, really good teams. But I'm gonna take experience over rookie for this one because Caleb Williams in that Bears offense, it's a different monster. It's a different atmosphere when it comes to playoffs. So give me the Eagles. Now, Bills, Broncos.
Wouldn't it be so funny if I were to knock out both one seeds right now? Because that's
Mm.
exactly what I'm going to do. I'm taking Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills. I'm telling you, man, this guy got married. This guy's been doubted. He won MVP last year. Is not going to win it this year. He got overtaken for MVP by a guy in his own division. He is hungry. He's ready to kill. The Broncos offense has been underwhelming all year, even though their defense is absolutely fantastic. Can you contain both Josh Allen and James Cook when your best position is your cornerbacks? I don't know. Give me Buffalo.
This is also really tough for me. Broncos offense has been really inconsistent. I know a lot of people were drawing comparisons to last year's Chiefs with them going 15 and 1 or 15 and 2 and making the playoffs that way. And the Broncos offense has been a little inconsistent. The Broncos defense is absolutely phenomenal with Jedi Barron and PS2 holding down the secondary. You still have Nick Benito, who is absolutely phenomenal on the defensive line. But then again, you have a hungry Josh Allen who wants to avenge all of his playoff losses, and he's going to do that against the Denver Broncos. Now, Houston and Patriots. I think the Patriots win this one. I mean, honestly, when it comes down to playoff consistencies, Mike Vrabel has been that guy. I mean, this is a much more complete team that he has than he had in Tennessee. I mean, the Patriots have been absolutely awesome. Drake May has elevated these, I would say, less than stellar wide receivers on a different level, like Kyle Williams, Stephon Diggs, and Hunter Henry, even with the tight end position over there. I think the Patriots beat the Texans.
I'm happy that we've agreed most of the time with the game so far because it's about time that we don't. I'm
Ooh.
going Houston in this matchup. I'm so confident in this Houston defense. I think it's killer. I think they're going to take Drake May and expose the weak receiver core and the weak running back core. You cannot trust Tre'Davious Henderson. You cannot trust Ramondre Stevenson. You cannot trust anybody of their pass catchers. Who knows what Stephon Diggs is going to do in the playoffs when he has Mr. Derek Stingley staring him directly in the face. If Nico Collins and CJ Stroud are on the same page in this game, I love Gonzalez. I think he's a great player. What are you going to do? Give me Houston.
We might have to rock, paper, scissors for this one.
I'll
You also
let you.
give me
I'll put New England. Put New England. It doesn't matter. Whoever you put here is going to get bounced in the next round anyway. It
so
doesn't
you're
even
saying the
matter to me.
Bills?
Give me Buffalo to the Super Bowl in the AFC. I don't care who you put. Buffalo's winning.
All right, now the NFC. Honestly, I was going to agree with you on the AFC side of that. But the NFC, Rams, Eagles.
We've seen this matchup. We saw this matchup last year,
Hmm.
and it was one play that ended the game in favor of the Birds. I think this year, you know how a scale, when one side wins, it goes this way?
Hmm.
It's tipping right back. The Los Angeles Rams are heading to the Super Bowl, and it will not be against the Patriots. Oh my goodness, what a game it's going to be.
Honestly, I love this matchup. And what I want to say about last year's team compared to this year's team, we had Kellen Moore at the offensive coordinator position. Our defensive, mindset and coordinating position has been phenomenal all season long. Our offense has not. And this Rams team is much more complete than it was last year. I mean, you have Devontae Adams. You have Puka Nacua, again, a top three wide receiver in all the NFL. Stafford's playing at an MVP level. Um, I hate to go against the Eagles here. Oh, I'm on the edge. I'm on the edge. I don't want to go against my Eagles,
Uh-oh.
but I'm
Uh-oh.
going to go the Los Angeles Rams, and this is going to be our Super Bowl. Los Angeles Rams, Buffalo Bills in Santa Clara. We have
Woo.
Bad Bunny performing the halftime show. Who do you think is going to win the Super Bowl?
The battle of the Midwestern farm animals. The question is, who wins it? I think Josh Allen puts up such a good fight. But when it comes down to it, Rams are a top five offense, top five defense. The Bills are a top five offense, top 15 defense. There's a discrepancy there. Give me the Los Angeles Rams.
This is going to be a really close matchup. And honestly, this was going to be my Super Bowl matchup, the Rams and the Bills. And honestly, I look, Josh Allen is hungry. And again, I think the offense is going to put up phenomenal numbers. The defense has been a little shaky at times, this season. I mean, we saw it against the Falcons when, with that over there. We've seen it against the Patriots. The Rams have looked phenomenal. I mean, you said top five offense, top five defense. The Rams have elevated lower name players to being elite stars. And I think they're gonna reach the stars in this one, and it's gonna be the Los Angeles Rams winning the Super Bowl. That is going to be our playoff bracket. And Jack, thank you so much for taking time to join, man. Always a pleasure getting to do an episode with you. And any big projects and big interviews coming up for everybody to watch?
I mean, just a bunch of interviews as always. My first play-by-play reps will be going up in January. January 28th is my first call. Jack Dobbins Broadcasting is my other account, more so for play-by-play. The podcast is for the interviews and all that other fun stuff. But hey, just keep in touch, keep in contact with the Playoff Push Pod. Always love to see new people come in. But man, it's always great talking ball with you, man. Especially filling out a playoff bracket. Hopefully it ages well.
Yes, sir. I truly appreciate your time. And stay tuned for my interview with Jan Gomes, January 10th. I'm looking forward to that. We have Cisco from Dodger Films coming in next week, and we have Greg Caserta from the MLB Network joining next week as well. But Jack,
One
thank you
final
so
thing. One
much.
final thing.
One
Do you
final
like the
thing.
sign?
I do, and it's illuminated this time.
It is. It
It's
is illuminated this time.
yeah.
I found the remote, so now I can like turn it on and off. So that's kind of cool. I had to show
But
it to you.
stay tuned. Tune into both of our channels, and we will see y'all next time.